Well, how many times am I going to say it on the channel this year? The Premiership delivers time and time again. What a Saturday of action it has been. Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have been here at Twickenham for the big summer kickoff. Not much sign of the summer, but Harlequins against Northampton was absolutely brilliant and a massive win for Quins. And I was scrolling on my phone throughout the game, keeping an eye on that Bristol match. 3 tries in the final 9 minutes for Bristol to come from 19-0 down to beat Leicester and hold on to 4th spot for the time being. Unbelievable action so far this weekend in the Premiership. Couple more games still to come, of course, but I thought I'd look back at this game, chat a little bit about Bristol and where Leicester are at the moment, and of course Saracens and that huge win for them over Bath yesterday. So comment down below, let me know what you make of it in terms of the top 4, any of the games and the points that I touch upon as well, and make sure you like the video and that you're subscribed to the channel. Starting off here though, it was billed as 2 teams who are arguably the most entertaining 2 in the Premiership, and you can see why really, because excuse me, they are 2 sides that when they get their attacking game right, they are so entertaining to watch. And huge credit to Harlequins today, by the way, because Danny Kerr, Lewis Liner, Tyrone Green all spent time in the sin bin. So they spent 30 minutes of that match with 14 men, but they were still able to come out on top against the Northampton side, who have been brilliant themselves this year, and despite this defeat, they keep hold of top spot. It means they haven't quite secured their place in the playoffs. That will most likely come in the next few weeks. It would be quite remarkable if they weren't to book their spot by now, but even so, they'll have to wait. And for Harlequins, it keeps them in touch. They're now level on points with Bristol. They're behind Bristol because Bristol have won 1 more game, but that is the reality of this division this year. It is so tight, it is so congested, and frankly, who's going to sneak into those playoffs is anyone's guess, although it is starting to become a little bit clearer, I think, with Leicester's defeat. They're not mathematically out of it, but you wouldn't expect them to be able to drag themselves back into it at this stage. But as I say, credit to Harlequins. Some of the tries they scored were absolutely sensational. 6 tries in all, despite the fact, as I say, they played 30 minutes of the match down to 14 men against a Northampton side who Northampton played well. When you look at the fact that they put 32 points up on the scoreboard, they scored their tries, they had some big moments chalked off. The Sam Graham try right at the end of the first half, which was disallowed for slight knock on. The replays I saw, it didn't look conclusive to me that it definitely went forward, but I was kind of squinting at it from the gantry up to the big screens here in the stadium, so maybe it was clear. And also I thought they rode their luck with what could have been a forward pass in the build-up to the slight home try anyway. So Northampton will go again. They have proven this year how good they are. 2 huge Champions Cup semi-finals for both of these sides, Quins and Saints, coming up next weekend. The big thing, I suppose, now for Northampton is they make sure they get themselves that home semi-final. That's always so key in the Premiership. They will almost certainly get top 4. I think for them not to, in fact, it might even be virtually impossible now. It's one of those you have to work out the maths. I think it would need either Bristol or Quins to win all of their games and Northampton not to win any, but Quins and Bristol play each other on the final weekend. So who knows what a game that's going to be, by the way. And also, just in terms of the event here this afternoon, they do a great job, Harlequins, a couple of times a year, bringing it away from the Stoop. They're fortunate that this place is essentially across the road and putting on a great day of it. There was about 60,000 in the house here. Their big game around Christmas tends to always sell out as well, and it is a great family day. I'd imagine if you have a young family, it's a great afternoon, a great day to bring your kids down to, and often the rugby itself lives up to it as well, and Harlequins have a pretty good record in these sorts of fixtures, and they delivered again today. It's hard to pick out too many players, but again, Alex Dombrandt is having an outstanding season for Quins. He was player of the match here and is carrying his work in defence. He is absolutely brilliant. I think he has to be on that summer tour for England, but that's maybe a discussion for down the line. Let's look at it elsewhere then. So Bristol coming back into it late to beat Leicester. As I say, I think that means that Leicester's hopes of top 4 are pretty much over. I'd be very interested in the thoughts of the Tigers fans, because their season has just been kind of started poorly, got a bit better in the middle and then has tailed off and dipped off again. Fairly unsatisfactory for them, losing some big players next year as well in terms of Jasper Wiese, Ollie Hassel-Collins. I saw he scored twice today. On the whole, I don't think he has had as much of an impact as he would have liked. So let me know what you make of Leicester. For Bristol, I mean, they still might not do it, by the way, because as I say, that's a huge game against Quins on the final weekend. It's so tight, but they just keep winning. They seem to have found a way, and there is something about Bristol that reminds me of when they were the team that made playoffs. Because on those occasions, their attack was very, very strong. Sounds like they didn't quite have their way of it as much today, because they were held nil for the best part of, 70 minutes, just over 70 minutes. But when Bristol were at their best, under Pat Lam, you could never write them off. They used to be able to find a way to get back in games and to win games that they maybe shouldn't have. And it seems like that's possibly what they have done today as well, with a conversion to win it with the final kick. You'll have to excuse me, I've been ill all week and my throat is getting better, but you can see kind of just about holding on. So it's a huge result for Bristol. They've still got two massive fixtures. That one against Quins is big, but the way in which they've expanded their attacking play. I saw an interview of Max Malins where he spoke about that, and I know Pat Lam has spoken about it, that it was almost a flick of a switch, a line in the sand. Earlier this season, they were still trying to play kind of territory, kick-heavy, controlling game, which has never really suited this team. They've always been at their best when it's a little bit mad, a little bit Quinsy, really, having the confidence to attack from anywhere, and maybe they are getting back to it. So fair play to them. At one point this season, I thought Bristol were heading down the path of a third straight year of just anonymity and irrelevance, but they've done a brilliant job. Before my throat gives out, let me quickly mention that Saracens game. Huge win for Sarries, away to Bath, puts them in the box seat to get themselves a home playoff semi-final. I really enjoyed it yesterday. I know there were some conversations about the first half in particular not being the most entertaining, and I would understand that if it was earlier in the year, but because we're so late in the season and there's so much on these sorts of games, I don't mind an arm wrestle. I don't mind a real tactical duel of both sides going at it. Owen Farrell was absolutely brilliant. Sarries fans are going to hate this. I really hope they don't get a home semi-final, just because I can't see anyone going to the Stonex and winning. But I think Saracens going away from home to, say, a Bath, for example, at the Rec or someone else, would be an absolutely fascinating matchup because of how good Sarries are. In a way, that's a compliment to Sarries. I hope Saracens fans don't take it as too much of a slight. But I think, 2011, or certainly a long, long time ago, was the last time they lost a home Premiership semi-final there. So, I don't know, we'll wait and see. It looks like Saracens are coming good. And I suppose a lot of people would still have them as the favourites. I did a video on that earlier this week. Sarries are still, with a lot of the bookmakers, the favourites, despite the fact that Northampton, I think, have been the most consistent and best team across the league season. But the fact that Saracens have been there and done it so many times means maybe they are the favourites to come to this place in whatever it is, a month or so's time, and win another Premiership crown. It could be Northampton, it could be Harlequins, it could be that game again, which I saw today. It could be Bath, it could be Bristol. It is genuinely so open, it is so entertaining. So leave your comments down below. I will leave it there before I have another coughing fit. But yeah, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, and enjoy the Premiership, because it is mental. See you in the next one.